the madhouse.
Cheers to episode 24.
Cheers.
Truly, like the fruit punch pack, really good. Really good stuff. It's the last remnants of a shake.
Strictly drinking water. Gotta stay hydrated. Beat the heat.
Wow.
H2O.
So I'm the only cool on this episode, clearly.
Drinking doesn't make you cool.
Well, kind of does.
What about our underage listeners?
Name a cool sober person.
Crickets.
All right. We are recording this episode. Felt good to win that one off the bat. On Tuesday, June 8th, 7:18 p.m. And the national media hates Dan Campbell, our head coach, which we'll get to later, which is also an exaggeration. But before we get into that, let's catch up with each other. What happened to you this week, Evan? Anything cool?
Let's see. Busy week. It's the last time we talked.
Right.
Had a lot going on.
The
Hosting
tournament.
The tournament.
That you won.
Second annual Arrows tournament. Shout out Brandon for listening.
Hey, let him tell the
Who's
team.
Brandon?
Coach Schmidt.
Shout out Coach
Schmidt.
And you guys won the tournament,
I
right?
was looking forward to me positively talking about my team. However, we came up short.
Oh.
We were the 1 seed. Played great Friday and Saturday. Sunday came out. Laid an egg.
Ew.
Hate to see it. Even hate to be a part of it. And it's just hosting a
Seems
tournament. There's
extreme,
nothing worse than taking care of like a field and like just watching the championship at your own home field and you're not playing in it.
It's so
sit there.
emasculating.
What place did you finish?
I think we finished like 4th.
So you lost in the semifinal?
Final four.
Yeah, we had a bye because we were the 1 seed.
And you lost the first
Not a big
game
deal.
out of the bye.
Yep, lost our first game on Sunday. Said thanks. See you later.
Do you make the kids watch the championship game like Stephon Diggs? Like when they
No,
watch
they all left.
the champions?
No, they all left.
They all left.
But you watched them.
They went to the
want to get
splash.
better.
They went to the splash
Yeah.
pad.
I had to present the medals after the championship game.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
What a slap in the face.
You know, just
Did you cry?
can't do your job.
You hide back those
Yes,
tears
sir.
for your kids.
What?
You hid the tears for your kids so they didn't see your true
I don't
emotions.
cry. No, you don't need to cry over it.
When's the last time you cried, Alex?
I don't know, actually. I can't think of any times recently.
Evan's got in his room. He's got a countdown clock. This is like 362 days until the third annual Arrows tournament. Be a champion. Slaps it every day because he doesn't want to feel the sting of this year. He wants to hand out. He wants to put. So if you won, do you put your own medal on your own neck? Because that's kind of a power trip.
Oh, he would have.
Yeah. They're like, oh,
yes,
here
this
we
is mine. And then just put it on and then walked away. Like, yep, I am the champion. Thank you for coming.
That's right, losers.
And I need to ask an important question. I don't ever remember. Are you the head coach of this team or assistant head coach or co-head coach? Or how does that work?
I am the head coach of the 11U Tecumseh Arrows baseball team.
Wow. So you are going to be the next Jim Leland.
If I start smoking a pack of cigarettes every day, then maybe.
It's a nice career path.
Just don't be like Tony La Russa off the field.
Hey, he's hip now. See him wearing his hat sideways?
No.
Oh, it's
He also wears it sideways when he does a little
He
DUI.
wore it just like that. He wore it just like that in the dugout. And I saw a meme, and it was hilarious.
Anything else of note outside of the tournament?
We had golf league last night,
Yes.
both Alex and I.
It's back.
We are back. 2 weeks off. It feels like 2 weeks since we played. Actually, I had a week off because of Memorial Day. Didn't play the best, but we did take points. Drew and I are in 3rd place and moving up. Potentially, we're in 2nd now.
Wow.
Haven't done the numbers yet, but we're the top. Everyone's chasing us.
Everyone's chasing
Well,
your dad's team, actually.
Everyone but 2 teams are chasing You guys.
Guess who I play next week? 1 versus 2 matchup potentially. Next week's going down.
I'm going to give the slight odds favorite to your dad's team. They're experienced.
So that's who's in first?
Yes. Evan's father is in first place in the golf league.
Grudge match city between Evans and
There's an asterisk next to that, how many points they're taking, because there's a rumor out there saying that my dad's partner, Wally, is establishing. So that's why they're taking all the points, because it's 80% of his score.
Establishing his dominance on the league? What does establishing mean in this situation?
Establishing his handicap. So his handicap probably should be lower than what he's actually shooting. Let's say he shoots 10 over and around. He's establishing, so it's 80% of that. He's a handicap of 8. And so you get more points if you're establishing because your handicap's going to be higher.
Some would argue that you're going to split even most of the time when you're establishing. Now, we're getting pretty into the weeds about this.
I don't want to call Wally a sandbagger, but it sounds like Wally
there's lots of
is a sandbagger.
There's a lot of sandbaggers. Evan,
There's a sandbagger in this group, technically. Alex's partner could be a sandbagger.
People are saying.
Whoa.
I'm not saying it, but people are.
Whoa.
I mean, Evan knows it. You're on hole 9. The round has been lost. Oh, what's a 3-putt? You never know.
You had a good drive.
Blows by.
Duffing one here and there. It's okay.
The whole integrity of this league is questionable, it sounds like.
We're not being that serious. I would never just play bad on purpose. Anything else from your week, Evan?
I think that's about it.
Solid week. Alex.
No. Let's go to your week first and then mine.
Me?
Change it up.
Okay. Played some golf outside of the league, obviously, that I'm not in. I didn't play well. Played 9 holes on a Saturday morning. Played really, really bad. Other than that, really nothing. Went downtown in Royal Oak on Saturday night. That was cool. But I don't want to gripe this place. There's no chance anyone from this place listens to this show. But it's just absurd that this place in downtown Royal Oak called Fifth Avenue. It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of, they have like a monopoly on downtown in that area. Their cover charge that they charge people is absurd. It's $5 for girls to get in, which is like fair, whatever. $20 for dudes to get in, just to get in. And like an idiot, I've paid it twice now. I mean, I've had decent times both times I've gone, and you kind of forget about it by the end of the night. But in the moment, you're like, dude, why am I just handing over $20 to this doorman? And this time especially hurt because we went at like 9:30 when it wasn't even busy. Last time it was like around midnight and was fully packed. I get that. Like, okay, yeah, there's a premium to get in, but like 9:30 and you're not even busy, and it's like, hey, here's a quick 20 out of your wallet. Just hurts deep down. That was about it. That's my complaint of the week, which isn't really a complaint because no one forced me to pay it. I willingly was like, yep, here you go. So that sucks.
Nothing else?
Oh, DJs around the country, stop playing like no word EDM music. It also goes into the said bars. Like, stop. Play like, people would much rather hear
people want to sing.
Pour Some Sugar on Me at a bar like that than whatever Tiesto just came out with that has no words in it. Or I was going to say David Guetta, but no, play David Guetta. His songs have words. Just don't play like Skrillex. Like, no one knows how to dance to that. And that needs to stop. That's about it. That's my only PSA in this segment. What happened to you this week, Alex? So you had golf league, obviously, but anything else?
Well, short work week, so that was plus. Only 4 days because Memorial Day. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was nice.
Good point.
What did I do? Pretty much nothing that Grant didn't mention. I mean, I also golfed on Saturday with Grant. And I also went to the same bar. And
you also didn't play great from what I remember.
No, I did not play my best. It was I would say we both, just gave up on the round after a few holes, and we started just, trying to have fun, enjoy ourselves.
We had Tommy Tiger Woods behind us, like.
We had a guy hit into us multiple times to the point where we put it in the hole. We're putting the flag in. We're walking off the green, and this guy is so eager, Beaver. He is already hitting at us, and it's never good.
No.
Never hit the green. Wasn't even close to us, but like, buddy. 2 minutes, not even. We're getting to the cart and we'll drive away, but no, he's got to hit into us, even though we're stuck behind another group in front of us anyway, so we can't go anywhere.
First spike touches the fringe, balls in the air.
Ball's coming. It's like, dude,
Oh, not to jump in, but hilarious story from said golf. I'll keep it brief because a lot of golf talk. Get to the last hole on 9, and I'm playing terrible, so I'm not really, the most uppity golfer there is. So I hit a putt, and I was pretending like chase it in like Tiger Woods in that one like clip at the Masters, like pointing at it, and I run by the hole. I missed it, of course. And Alex is like, "Hey, dude, you might want to like stop running across the green, like it could mess people's stuff up." I'm like, "Oh, Alex, stop! You're just kind of being a know-it-all when it comes to golf." He's like, "No, like someone from inside the course is like watching us right
the
now."
pro shop. In
Pro
the window,
shop.
there was a figure of a man.
So I look over like, "Oh, dude, there was someone staring at us." I'm like, I'm kind of nervous. So we drive the cart. You have to go right by this window. I look like at it and it's still staring at us. It's a cardboard cutout, life size of Phil Mickelson that they have looking out at the 9th green.
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah, the Rangers definitely coming
It's
for
like
us.
a scarecrow. It was like a scarecrow.
Standing right there, looking at us. So that was memorable. But what else from your weekend?
Yeah, so I played golf that Saturday. Went to the bar, paid $20. Pretty dumb. It's all right. I agree with Grant's EDM rant, so I'm not going to rant about it also. Then golf league, I guess I'll jump to that because Sunday I didn't do anything. So Monday I golfed on league. I'm in a new grip. I'm changed how I place my hands on the golf club. A little swing difference. Hit the ball pretty well. On the last hole, everything was going really well. On the last hole, I was about 160 out on. And I pulled the wrong club, I guess, and I went 30 yards over the green, so that kind of derailed me a bit. It was a little upsetting to finish like that. But overall, played good, took some points. And like Evan, we are moving up. We were 9th 2 weeks ago, 6th this week, and then we took points again. So we're probably in the top 5 now. So we're not too far back. Maybe Evan will slip next week, and we'll play each other on position.
Oh.
Which position I just matches you up like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way down to give the league a chance to move up or down.
Makes sense.
And it's like the halfway point, I believe. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah. So, outside of our personal lives, what has happened since we last recorded? Quite a bit. Not a ton in Detroit-specific sports because it gets slower here in the summertime, and none of our teams, like we always say, I think every single week, it's we beat a dead horse. They are not in the playoffs, so it makes it like if we had hockey or basketball going on, we could break those games down every single show. It'd be a blast. But anyways, this kind of transitions to that. We'll hop around here of national things we noticed because there was a lot of cool stuff that happened. Speaking of those playoffs, I don't know if it's just me, but in multiple sports, not just one. You got the hockey crowds that are full capacity now. Vegas was buzzing in their game against the Avalanche. And even in we had the Knicks crowd at the Garden. There's some basketball. Some basketball crowds are kind of wild. I think Utah Jazz tonight is going to be off the rails. They're always a really aggressive crowd.
Phoenix was
for better or worse.
Pretty good last night as well.
Phoenix is an interesting crowd. There's young kids involved. There's they're just going crazy. Yeah. And then they went on a 16-0 run in that game last night. And then more surprisingly, in these D1 college baseball regionals, some crazy viral videos of Tennessee hit a walk-off. They were going bananas. Arkansas, I watched that one live. I tuned into the Arkansas-Nebraska game. Kid hit a 3-run bomb when they were up by a run in the 8th, and that place erupted. I think I know the answer, but does it feel like these reactions are bigger and better than ever before? Just because everyone doesn't know how to act because they're back from COVID?
I think we just took for granted fans and reactions and all that. I just think without having it for so long, we just forgot that, fans make sports. They really do. And it's awesome. I mean, they're probably a little louder and a little more jazzed up, but I think now that people know what it's like without fans, that this might just be the new normal, if you guys want to say it's different. I think this is how it's going to be. Rowdy fans.
For a while, yeah. I agree.
Yeah, because if fans are gone again, everyone's going to be depressed. And so I don't think anyone is going to take advantage of or take for granted being in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's partly social media. You get any fan reaction, it's going to go on social media.
Great point.
You got to think it's been 2 years since we've seen playoff fans in any situation. Those 2 years, social media has gotten bigger. Fans have gotten a little bit crazier. And now teams and fans are diehards, and so they're going to get reactions like that. And now, I mean, these are big moments too. Regular season, you're not going to see much of that, but I mean, like playoffs and regionals. I think the college baseball is just unbelievable. Ole Miss's celebration in the outfield with their student section, any home run. I think they just spray their beers or whatever they're drinking just straight in the air. It's like a water fountain. It's unbelievable.
That's sweet. I always love a good drink throw reaction like that. And I can't be the only one. I'm sure you guys feel the same. I have just serious FOMO since no Detroit teams have experienced this yet since post-pandemic. And I really just want to be a part of one of these crowds. And I can't fake, like we picked our fake teams for the playoffs, but I can't really get into it that much. I can't sit here and say, oh, I should get on my feet when Devin Booker makes a big shot. Like I can't convince myself that much I care. So I just need a Detroit team to get into the playoffs at some point with this full capacity back so we can enjoy it. Because it sucks being on the sidelines. But another event that I want to get to briefly that also dealt with fans. Evan, USA Soccer, back?
I don't know if we're back. I don't know if we were ever there.
Back.
Arrived.
Showing up, getting better maybe. Let's put it that way. But I'll be honest, I did stay up late to watch that. I woke up and I had about 25 messages in a group chat, and I was like, what is going on? And it was all about USA Soccer. Went straight to Twitter, went to ESPN, watched the highlights, and I was like, wow, I missed a great match. And then my boy, Pulisic, shout out Chelsea, he is the new Captain America for US Soccer.
Mm-hmm.
We have a stud. Everybody likes him. He's like the fan favorite. So I would say US Soccer is feeling better.
Arrived.
I don't know if we're back because I don't think we've ever been there.
Fair. Knockout stages. Now, someone might need to hold me back here, but I will go as far to say that USA-Mexico, from not really knowing a ton about it, that might be the best rivalry in all of sports. That was the most pure hate between players, between fans against opposing players I've ever seen. Two guys, one American, one for the Mexican team, got hit in the head with full bottles of water. Just drilled. One guy, he may have flopped, it is soccer. He went down to the ground. He was laying there he had a concussion for 5 minutes.
I saw that people were filling cups up with pee and throwing them as well. Wow. Full on.
It was
a dude got hit in the back. One of the players on the Mexico team got hit in the back with a cup full of piss.
Jeez.
Could you imagine? I mean, I could not.
Stinky. Ew. I also, you guys have heard this take, I'll recycle it, but I need to say it for the podcast is street cred. Everyone likes to, the easy chirp for soccer is, they flop, they're soft, blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of nuances in the game of why you have to flop and whatnot. And it gets compared to the NBA a lot because the NBA is flopping a lot now. Gotta give some credit, street credit to soccer players for just shrugging all that debris off because as we saw in the NBA the last couple weeks, one little popcorn or one splash of water, the NBA players were throwing fits about it. Whereas soccer players had just heaps of stuff being thrown upon them and they still stayed dialed into the game. And I'm sure they made comments afterwards about how they lost the crowd, but they weren't focused on that mid-game like a lot of NBA stuff was. So still goes to the overall point, let's not be throwing stuff at people, but it was interesting to see how soccer players kind of toughened up in that situation. I kind of respect them a lot for it. And shout out our backup goalie who made that sweet save on the PK.
Made multiple saves. Big saves.
That was pretty cool.
Your guy got benched, I guess.
He got hurt.
Okay.
What he did?
I don't know.
Did you watch it?
I did, but I didn't see when he went out. I wasn't paying attention.
Well, before you just come on to this widely listened to show and say that Man City's backup goalie, Zach Steffen.
Well,
awesome.
You could debate that he might just be the backup now anyways.
When he got slid into and tore up his groin.
Yeah, but he looked fine on the bench. He was moving around.
Okay.
Excited.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Alex. I
didn't say he's not injured.
As someone who watched
he might not be the starter anymore.
He got pulled.
He might not be the starter anymore.
Different argument than you were making.
Well, I changed my arguments as a good podcast talker would do.
You flip-flop like a pancake there. My point remains he got hurt, and that's why he wasn't in the game. Anyways, Evan, did you... Hopefully you didn't. I did. I'm an idiot.
So you didn't let me talk about United States soccer at all?
You could jump in whenever you want.
No,
You don't-
you jump.
you
You jump
don't have-
topics.
you don't have to
move
raise
on.
your hand.
Move on.
You don't have to
Move
raise your
on.
hand.
Move on,
You
host.
clearly, you didn't watch the game because you said.
I did.
I don't even want to hear your opinion about it because you didn't watch the
No,
game.
I see that. That's why you moved on so fast.
Evan, did you waste $50 on Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul like I did?
No, I wanted to watch it, but I was busy Sunday evening when it started. I think like the prelims or the undercard started at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really home until like 9:30. So after that point, it was like, nah. And my house isn't best suitable for pay-per-view and streaming services. So I was just like, I'll see it on Twitter. I'll wake up to it in the next morning. I did not watch it live. I watched the highlights. I've seen all the fan theories. I've seen all the hate for it. I've seen the likes for it. I kind of have a glimpse of what went on. And Logan Paul did not win, whether his brother likes it or not.
Very true.
Floyd definitely won. Like Logan Paul hit like 13% of his hits and threw like 217 punches. That my man was out there just swinging, aiming for the fences.
Yeah.
Floyd definitely won. And Floyd saw the paycheck and was like, "Yeah, sure, I can do this." But in Miami, when it was raining, downpouring, they had to sweep off the mat multiple times, and fans started booing at the end of it because nobody knocked each other out. It's entertainment. It wasn't a boxing match. It was strictly entertainment. If people think it was something different, then they're wrong, and they're idiots for thinking otherwise.
So you mentioned the fan theories. Do you think that Floyd Mayweather held up Logan Paul to keep the fight going?
That video is so like I believe it.
There's a chance.
But my only problem with it is like that video is attached with thinking, oh, Floyd Mayweather held him up, and it could be taken out of context. Like you'd have to watch like the first 15 seconds before that happened and like a good like minute after that happened. But when somebody says, hey, Floyd Mayweather held up Logan Paul, and then you watch him hit him and he goes down and then it cuts, you're like, oh yeah, he kind of did. And I mean, it looks like he did.
Yeah. I thought it would be tough for Floyd to hold up a guy that big. So I was like, I don't know. But I think the I'll just like kind of go off of what they said. It was Joe Rogan put an Instagram post about it. And it's like the really boring take about the whole thing. As someone who paid for it, Showtime also, it wouldn't have mattered, Evan, with your streaming situation. Their whole stream like wasn't working for forever too. So I eventually got to work on the app on my phone, but like barely. So that was good. I would love a refund if they'd give one. It was like entertaining enough to not complain, but I think what I took from it, based on kind of what Joe Rogan was explaining, is that one, it's super impressive that Floyd Mayweather is still like that sharp at age 44, fighting a guy twice his age that's way heavier than him. Like not a lot of boxers would do that. And then it's also super impressive on Logan's end because he got punched pretty hard, like several times by Floyd, especially like in the fourth round. And just to go the distance with him, whether Floyd was like all in or not, still pretty impressive and something like it'd be pretty cool just to have that the rest of your life, that you went the distance in a fight with Floyd Mayweather, who's like arguably the best of all time. So I guess it's a win-win for both and kind of a loss if you were hoping for a knockout for the country.
I think anyone hoping for a knockout probably knew deep down that there wasn't going to be one. Floyd doesn't really knock people out, and he doesn't get knocked out. So, I mean, like Evan said, it was purely for entertainment, and they probably made millions of dollars off of it. But, I mean, the fight itself, I mean, it's pretty boring. Floyd, got a few shots in there. Surprised. I did think that Logan Paul was better than anyone expected he would be. But also, like Evan said, he was just like flailing his arms at some points and just like swinging for the fences. Just like didn't look like a boxer at all in some points. But overall, the fight, if we're being super serious about it, it stuck. And it was not worth $50. So I feel bad for anyone that paid it. Especially with the Showtime.
Thank you
if you bought Showtime.
Thank you. Yeah, they got to fix that next time.
The Chad Johnson fight wasn't bad.
No, it was all right.
Took a big shot.
Good production value. The song of the summer, we have it. It's been released to the public. I don't know if those are aware. Evan may have listened to it. I don't know. I sent it to our group chat as I do once a summer. Evan, did you like it or did you not like it?
He's not a Keith
going
Urban
to be
guy.
harsh here. I'm just
Well, he's
saying
not a Keith Urban
I
guy.
would pump my brakes on it being the song of the summer so early. It has its moments. It's a little catchy here and there, but then there's some parts where I just can't get down to it.
The Keith Urban version.
Evan, you hate Keith Urban. Say it.
No, Keith Urban makes that song. If Keith Urban wasn't in that song, it would be
Okay.
All right, at least we agree with that.
All right.
But
There's
do you
just
like
parts
Keith Urban?
in it where he goes in, not Keith Urban, goes into deeper tone of voice, rap, and I don't think it plays well with the type of song that he's trying to get.
Okay. We're still coming around on country rap, sounds like. And I am too. It's a weird genre.
I think Keith Urban
I'm saying
makes that song.
I can't say Grant says the song of the summer, so we'll see until somebody takes this one over.
The Song of June.
I can. The song
of last week.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a start.
But I can definitely see a little tuned up Evan Camus at Harper's. That song comes on, just absolutely
Evan has some
vibing to
Bush Lights, maybe a vodka lemonade in him. He's vibing to that. There's no doubt.
I mean, yeah, because I'll know the song. Be like, hey, I know the song. Probably sing a couple lyrics to it, and everybody.
And then all of a sudden, that song is going to be all
and
the
then I'll
JD
instantly
songs.
say, yeah, this is Grant's song of the summer, 2021.
And mine too.
That'd
Wink,
be
wink. Yeah, it's great.
Evan's just holding out for a Justin Bieber song of the summer.
Oh.
You know what? I'll be honest. If he comes out with a fire song somewhere in the summer months, book it, song of the summer.
I can get behind that. Bad podcasting on us. The song's called "Throw It Back" by Breland, featuring Keith Urban. I forgot to say it off the top, so we won't play it here because last time we tried to play a song, we struggled with it technical wise and copyright. So go listen to that song and let us know what you think about it. And last but not least, before we get into the Detroit sports, the worst player, the second best. I won't do him that bad. The second best player in NBA history is washed up. His career is over. He will never win another title again. Bounced in the first round. None other than LeBron James was eliminated from the NBA playoffs since the last time we recorded. What do you think about that, guys?
I think the Suns played a great series. Devin Booker looked like a true star. And LeBron just,
Quit.
That's a LeBron guy.
Lover.
I wouldn't say that.
LeBron
I like
sexual.
him. I like his ability. I like him as a basketball player. I don't think he's a terrible person like some people do, Grant.
Who thinks he's a terrible person?
I don't hate his guts more than anyone else on the planet, Grant. But with all that being said, what was it, game 4, 5?
Did you watch this series either?
Well, I don't remember the exact game it was, okay? But when he walks out on his team, it's a bad look. And even as a LeBron guy, you want to open that real quick?
Ready? That distracted you that bad?
Well, I just figured you were just going to get on with it instead of holding.
LeBron thinks he's washed up.
He
and never
doesn't
win a title
stink.
again.
His team wasn't great. Anthony Davis was hurt, but he left his team. And after he left his team, it was hard for me to really get behind him any further. And I'm already a Chris Paul fan, and I have been my whole life. So it was okay for me to transition to the Suns for the rest of the series. All of one game.
Whatever lets you sleep at night.
Why don't you tell the people how much you hate LeBron James so they can understand more of why you're so excited about this?
Not much like other level than just hate. I just hate LeBron
For no
James.
reason? You just want
No, I have
to
a ton of reasons. But we don't have 2 hours to get into it.
Give 2 reasons.
He's the cringiest human being of all time.
One.
And he wants to be liked by every single person when he should have just leaned into the villain role. And he lied to the whole city of Cleveland's face.
Any others that you want to just quickly shoot off?
Nope.
Would you say he's in your top 3 most hated people?
He's the only person I hate. So there is no 3. It's just him.
Evan, you hate LeBron that much?
Probably not that much. I hate the media coverage of LeBron James, which makes me not like him even more because every second that he's playing in the game, that's all they talk about. Hey, guess what? There's 6 to 8 other teams playing. Let's talk about how good the Suns were. Let's talk about how good Devin Booker was. No, let's talk about LeBron James not being in the playoffs anymore. Sick. I'm sick of it. I don't like when people blow up these athletes and that's all they talk about. So I've never been a LeBron James fan.
Your own co-host just did exactly what you described. We're not talking about the Suns here. We're talking about LeBron James being eliminated from the playoffs.
I understand that.
Wow. So you more so hate LeBron James media than you do LeBron James.
Yes, SportsCenter, just when they just nonstop talk about LeBron James, hate it.
Me too.
So your hate's a lot different than Grant's. So that's what I gather.
But this LeBron James hatred also stems from LeBron James scoring like 25, 28 points in a row in the Pistons in a playoff game. And we have a good reason to. We played against him. We're diehard Pistons fans. And he played in Cleveland, left Cleveland, came back. We have a reason to hate LeBron James.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Grant, do you have anything to say?
At this point, I'd love to throw it out to recent YouTube subscriber Mike Anderson on YouTube. I had a great moment today reading this article, or comment, but it basically is an article with how long it is.
Long.
Only the first paragraph here. Yeah, it'll be reading on the show. The only first paragraph is about LeBron. The next is about golf and Stafford, which maybe we can get into it for a different day. I mean, this guy wrote a novel, so go check it out. It's on our most recent episode number 23. So Mike Anderson, 4 days ago. First, I hate LeBron with such a passion that I refuse to watch Lakers games. So I'm not that. I watch because I love to hate watch. Most of my favorite sports memories are from watching the Lakers. The moment the Lakers signed LeBron, I decided that I would no longer watch them until he is off the team. I have lived up to that promise. I love the fact that the Lakers lost, and this is coming from a fan of the Lakers for the last 30 years. So this is wild. And then that's where he cuts it off. He goes into a bunch of Rams golf stuff, LA guy, obviously. And then he ends with, I am now a subscriber to this channel. You had me at, quote, I wanted to watch LeBron lose, quote, LMAO.
Shout out Mike for
I
subscribing.
told Mike, welcome aboard. You're in the right place.
Yeah.
The LeBron hate will never run dry on this podcast. I almost don't even like to get him this much buzz on the show because I don't like talking about him. Like, I don't enjoy it. He stinks as a human being, and he's a great basketball player, which just sucks. But he's coming to the end. I don't anticipate him winning another finals ever. And hopefully, for Mike's sake, he leaves the Lakers this off season like the fair weather guy he is, so Mike can get back to watching his beloved Lakers. I hope that bond isn't broken for Mike because he seems so sincere about it.
For Mike also, I hope LeBron leaves the Lakers. Would you accept him in a Pistons uniform? It's really just asking you, Grant.
Oh. I wouldn't like it.
So would you be our guy there and just boycott the Pistons? Even though you have a podcast where you have to
I would
talk
have to
about
watch
the Pistons.
for the sake of the podcast. I'll tell you this: if they won a title with LeBron James, I'd feel really dirty about it and wouldn't celebrate it. I mean that.
Evan, you that extreme as well?
No. We get talked about a lot, unfortunately, which I just said I hated. But Detroit sports need to get talked about. But I would cheer for team success
Oh, you guys.
and not
What a
LeBron's
cop-out.
success.
Yeah, I love that.
All I care about is like, hey, did we win? Did we win that game? Yes. And then that's all I care about.
Yeah, we know you cheer for them.
I guarantee halfway through the season when
you want to
we're
watch
an absolute show every night and you guys are just loving it, you guys would be like,
We-
you know what? I like this LeBron James guy. He's not bad.
What LeBron James have you watched the last year? He's washed up.
He's not washed up, and that's just super extreme to say.
You want to do?
I don't need
You
to
want
pull
to
his
wash
stats.
LeBron's dirty underwear for him? It sounds like.
I would
Of course
never.
You could
I would never do that. That's disgusting. I would not go that far. I
You want to
even root
sniff
for
his
the
bath?
Suns.
You want to sniff his bath towels?
No, I would not do that either. But all I'm saying is, if he was in a Pistons uniform,
I'd puke.
it's something that you should be able to get behind.
Enough of this. Enough of this guy. He doesn't need to take up this much time.
No,
What I
he
wanna get
occupies
to-
tons of real estate in your head.
What I want to get to for Mike is I want to talk about a team that I'll never quit watching, no matter how dark it gets, and that is your Detroit Lions. Shout out Dan Miller. So, this week, Dan Campbell, the man is addicted to making national news headlines, whether he means to or whether he doesn't. In this case, Evan, before we get in, Evan, are you a Cowherd guy? I forget. Do you like Colin Cowherd?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. Ever since he left, what was it called? Sports Nation with
Sports
Michelle
Nation,
Beadle.
yeah.
Ever since he
Oh,
left
wow.
that show,
Real deep cut.
he has gone downhill.
Okay.
That show was great with Michelle Beadle. And
I really
Cowherd.
enjoyed that
Loved
show.
watching that show in the afternoon around 4 or 5 o'clock. But ever since he left that, I think he got like a balloon head. Thinks he's better than what he actually is. I wrote down some nasty points about him, so I am not a fan of him.
All right, well, I will say on Michelle Beadle's front, she was one of my first TV crushes as a kid, so that's cool. Shout out Michelle Beadle. So what I have here is, as we saw, and Lions fans most likely saw. If not, go look it up before we get into it. Joy Taylor Colin Cowherd's, I guess, like side host, because he always sits in that raised desk, and then he has usually the
Co-assistant host.
co-host sit in off the couch, kind of does some fact checking, hops in. He had a different co-host. She wanted to have her own show. I forget her name, but like that's kind of like they come on the show and then they end up having their own show. So Joy Taylor, who's on the show basically every day, she makes her viral Twitter video, which we don't need to explain too much of the backstory, just kind of crapping on Dan Campbell. And the line that really struck a chord with me was Colin at the end saying, if you think what Dan Campbell's doing with this race helmet is funny, then you're just a dumb person. Like, that just seemed way over the top. Like, I think we can separate the two. But I just kind of want to know your guys' mindset altogether, more for, like, maybe how Lions fans should view this. Because, and I'll be honest, I read some comments underneath Joy Taylor's video last night, and it's not necessarily all Lions fans on against her. There's some that have her side where it's like, yeah, we would like to see our coach win first before kind of doing these stunts and gimmicks. What do you guys think about Joy's reaction to our coach with the race helmet since he was the Grand Prix or the Grand Marshal?
I mean, it sounds like you've got a lot of points to make in a hated manner, so I'll go
Which
first.
we love.
Mine won't be as long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll let
you're
you
teeing them up.
finish with the hate. I'm going to try to be sort of a devil's advocate to you because I actually think this way.
Reasonable Ronnie.
Yeah, reasonable Ronnie. So, on one hand, if the national media is looking, they just see, Dan Campbell's got a racing helmet on. They might jump to conclusions and be like, yeah, this guy's a clown. He's never coached. Well, he has coached in the NFL as head coach. That's besides the point. But never as like the full-on guy.
On one hand, yes.
So I could see, they're like, oh, this guy's a loser. But they also should realize, he's the grand marshal for the race. He's doing it more for the city.
Okay, but they knew all that. So then what? Like, if they
so
know
then
all
it gets to this, ultimately.
Okay, on the other
I think, to try to be reasonable, Ronnie here, both points are valid. Yes, the guy hasn't won in Detroit. Okay, he hasn't. So if you want to make fun of him.
He won his first press conference.
Okay. So if you want to make fun of him because, he's fiery and he's fired up in the press conferences and he's giving people something to talk about, which we love because it gives us something to talk about, then if you want to hate on him, fine. But as Detroit fans, I don't think we have anything to really worry about because, he's just talking, he's just being who he is. And if it doesn't work, I don't think it's because he was talking to the national media in obnoxious manners or if he's trying. I don't think he's trying to put on a show. I just think that's how the dude is. Like, that's just who he is. So I don't think it's like a big deal. And if anything, Detroit should be happy that we get talked about a little more. And Colin Cowherd's take at the very end saying that we're dumb people, that was over the line ridiculous. But I'm sure Evan's going to go in on that, so I'm going to let him do that. But overall, I don't think it's like should have even been a big topic. But if people want to hate on it, they can. And as a Detroit fan, it's whatever. But ultimately, it doesn't matter until we reach the field and we see if he's, a decent coach. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. Just, right in the middle.
Reasonable Ronnie cannot be bothered with
it can't. Why would I don't know why it bothers national media to begin with.
But
just a racing helmet. He didn't get naked at the podium.
Angry Evan can be bothered, and I want him now.
Go in.
I am bothered.
Yes.
It struck a chord to me. I don't know why, but I saw the video like late last week actually, and it just instantly got me pissed off. Like, why are you attacking Campbell for no reason? First, okay, like we said before, he put on a racing helmet, then he took it off, and they said, now I will take questions. Kind of funny. SportsCenter threw it in like their montage right before the show started, and that was like the last clip right before the show started. It was like, and now I'll take questions. Boom, show started. It was pretty funny eating breakfast at 6 a.m.
Wow.
But
shout out 6 a.m.
Wow. Early
he was doing
riser.
it to promote the Grand Prix because he, like Grant said, he was the Grand Marshal or is going to be the Grand Marshal. And then, like, is it wrong to have a coach to have personality? Is it wrong to have a coach as like a player coach? Because then Joy goes in like, well, would you ever see Bill Belichick do this? Would you ever see Brian Flores do this? Well, it'd only be funny if Andy Reid did it. It's like, hey, guess what? There's more personalities out there, and this isn't the 1970s. NFL coaches are different. The game is different. We're moving on from it. And then, the only reason she's famous is because her brother is an NFL Hall of Famer. That's the only reason she's famous.
Whoa, I didn't even know that.
Deep cut.
And that's the truth.
That's the truth.
They're out in the LA studio. Colin Cowherd has been bad for a while. He thinks he's a know-it-all. Thinks he has all these right answers. And I've stemmed from one point, and I stand on my grave with this. He says he's a quarterback guru, and he knew Kyle Allen would be good since he watched him in high school. Okay? So he says he follows up on recruiting. Then, like a couple of days later, for some reason, I'm watching it, or I saw a clip on Twitter where he's interviewing Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's retired, and he's talking about Joe Burrow at LSU and how good they were, previewing a game or something. And he's like, oh, Joe Burrow's from Athens, Ohio. Well, why didn't you recruit him to Ohio State? Colin, he was at Ohio State. He transferred because they had better quarterbacks there. And he was like, and then Urban Meyer said that, and Colin was like, oh. And kind of stood there for a pause and then like moved on. So Colin, they're out of context, out of mind when you're speaking on like a small market Detroit fans, what they want, what they need from their coach, and like speaking from an LA bias standpoint, completely way off. And I'm hoping the Detroit fans rally around this coach because he brings grit and toughness to it, and he brings a personality that we didn't have with a poncho wearing coach beforehand. Because guess what? The Patriot way isn't the same, and it's not going to work in other places.
Facts.
I did see, just before you go, Grant,
Who says I'm going to go?
If you are. If you're not, no worries. But Dan Campbell said, I think it was today, maybe yesterday, that during the season, he's not going to be like a big antic guy in the press conferences. He's going to tone it down. So I guess Dan Campbell is affected by – he said he wasn't, but clearly the national media is like starting to bother him where he's not going to be himself, which I hate that. I wish he would just continue to embrace it.
Except for Thanksgiving when he shows up in his overalls and hard hat and eats the turkey leg.
2 turkey legs in hand.
Yes. He better still do that. I think I'll probably land somewhere in the middle of both of you. So I guess that's like
side with Evan.
Middleman Michael here. Like I think I wrote down context. Context in life, in everything, not to get too meta here, is everything. Context is everything. You know, things happen in a vacuum and you got to assess the situation. If we had just had a gimmicky, bad coach in Detroit and Dan Campbell was doing these things, I'd be mad about it. I'd be like, oh, here we go again. But we just came off of a coach who has the personality of a leaf blowing in the wind, an ant walking across the sidewalk. I mean, the most paint drying on the wall. That was Matt Patricia's personality. Okay? And it didn't work. And players despised him, and he made them practice outside when it was 15 degrees, which, honestly, Dan Campbell, I could see him doing that because he's just such a blue-collar dude.
In shorts and a t-shirt.
Anyways,
for sure.
Back on the track here is we just had the most boring coach of all time. So, when you have a guy that wants to step out a little bit, wants to do some fun things, what's the worst that can happen? If we stink again, at least we had fun stinking again. And then the point that I like from Alex is like, I like that Dan Campbell is just being who he is. I bet deep down Matt Patricia is not that annoying of a dude.
I don't know.
Maybe, but like we know he likes to have fun. He wore like the clown shirt off the plane, so we know he has some edge, some personality to him. That guy like died when he came to Detroit because he's like, I just need to be like Bill. He didn't be himself. He's like, I'm going to be Bill. I'm going to do everything like Bill would do. But guess what, Matt? You're not Bill. You're Matt Patricia. You wear a poncho on the sidelines. You're different. Be a different guy. Dan Campbell is going to be his own man because he's secure with himself and he's going to have fun. But then where I become the middleman is I also see the other side from the national market is where we've never really been contenders. We've never really been good, at least in our lifetime. and it kind of looks gimmicky, and you can make fun of it. And when you talk 4 hours a day live on the radio, which is really like tough to do, it's fun to jab at it. And what I will say is, it does in the national mind, like Dan Campbell's not doing himself any favors. Like when you do gimmicky stuff, you kind of have to back it up with wins, or you're just viewed as a joke, which I'm okay with because we haven't seen him play yet. But like I will say, if we have a really bad season, like 2 years in a row, it's gonna be well. It'll be easy to make jokes like maybe Dan shouldn't have done all like the funny press conference stuff and just focus more on the X's and O's. But like the deep down fan in me is like, dude, we stunk my whole life. At least we're having fun now. Like we just came off of a guy who didn't have fun at all and was miserable. Like at least let's just have fun. If we're gonna be like the Benchwarmers, that team stunk. That team was terrible. That movie, they had fun though. They brought in Buttermaker and they had a blast. Like they stunk and they had fun. Let's stink and have fun if we're gonna stink. So that's all I really have to say. And also, I want to be clear: all of Evan's chops on Colin Cowherd, please do not take them personally. Live Cowherd. Shout out Live Cowherd. Any other follow-ups on that? Any other Lions stuff?
I have a Lions thing that I'd like to talk about.
Before we do that, is there any other I think we all made pretty good points about it. Is there any other things we missed on this angle of this? What happened?
No. I think we did a great job. Shout out us.
Shout out us. And Live Cowherd. Alex.
You gonna cut that?
No.
So
What's wrong with that?
nothing. You're just down bad.
No. We're down bad about peach cobbler.
Yes. So what I want
do
to
it.
talk about with the Lions is I don't know.
Media day. Who cares?
I'm not like stealing this topic. I heard it on the radio. I will disclaimer that.
Who said it?
97 won the ticket.
Who else would have said it?
But I mean, every show was talking about it yesterday. Did you guys see the new Lions hats
No, yeah.
with a fat L
No.
on them? They just have an L.
They're gross.
Just an L.
I didn't see him.
Well, it's an L, but there's a line through it.
Yeah, but it's just like a big L.
Yeah, I mean, they stink. Are those the sideline hats this year?
I don't know that.
I didn't really want to take it seriously because it was such a bad design.
I just can't believe that they're selling that. And I just wanted to know if
New Detroit Lions hat.
you're surprised that they have just a giant L hat.
Hey, I mean,
Don't you think NFL could be a little better about making hats?
we already are a laughing stock? Well, isn't it like New Era or something?
But yeah, I mean, but
Mm.
NFL Shop, I think, is still
I mean, we're a joke. We're a joke of a franchise, whatever. Make fun of us.
Feels bad.
feels bad, right? It's a terrible hat.
I'll tell you this: if we go, above 500, this whole podcast is going to buy those and wear them.
For every show.
Yeah.
I don't know about every show, but yeah, every time we break down a game, we'll wear them and then take them off. We might do that anyways.
Well, does every team have a hat like that, or is it just us?
Yeah,
We're the only one with an L.
every team has their predominant color, a big L, and then their logo over it.
No, but I'm saying like the
Giants are the
Nick
G,
team
man.
name.
So
We're the only team with the L as our mascot, right?
we are the only L in the league. Fitting.
I don't see anybody else.
At least we're not the Texans.
Well, yeah, Jared Goff's awesome.
He is so wholesome.
Great guy.
Protect that man. You guys want to get into like a more depressing topic? A scarier topic?
Well, I'm going to argue your topic, but
Well, that'll be good.
if you want to go depressing, sure.
The next topic that I wanted to get to on our show today is about the Pistons. Because as we've talked about, the NBA playoffs are going on, and I've watched a lot of them. I've stayed up way too late at night because I don't live in the mountain time zone. Like I talked about how great Arizona is. I'm back to reality, back to staying up to midnight to even see like a decent amount of the late games. Selfish of the NBA to do that. They don't think about the East Coast at all. But I was thinking during these NBA playoffs, and specifically last night, as Evan's Bucks were getting taken to the woodshed. And this might be a hyperbole, but I don't know. Will the Pistons ever be serious contenders again? And serious contenders matter. I'm talking about like a team that dominates a season as like a 1 seed or 2 seed and expected to go deep in the playoffs and win it all. Because as I look across the NBA landscape, it's the most player-driven league we have in America. I mean, soccer is very player-driven. like Harry Kane's going to beg out of Tottenham to go to Man City or Chelsea. But in America, the NBA is as close as we get to that. Alex, wake up. But so everyone likes to pick their city. Like, oh, I want to go to this city. I want to play with these guys. I want to play with my bros from AAU. Blah blah blah. Detroit is as on the up and coming as it could possibly be, thanks to Dan Gilbert's renovation plans. It's not a free agent destination. I've never heard one NBA player really in history. Well, lies. Jerami Grant said he wanted to come to Detroit.
Josh Smith.
Did he? Josh Smith's played everywhere. He was probably just
Allen Iverson.
He might just be a serial traveler. No one really wants to come to Detroit unless they're getting overpaid. Because it's not an attractive city. I mean, poor Blake Griffin came and had to break up with his girlfriend because she didn't want to live here. So with that in mind, and I look at teams, when we talk about this upcoming draft, the Milwaukee Bucks, they landed Giannis. One of the best players in the league, MVP, I believe multiple times. They can't even make the finals. And they're kind of like Detroit. No one is dying to play Milwaukee. They'll go there because they want to play with Giannis, but they still haven't built enough. I'm thinking about Memphis, kind of a young up-and-coming team. They have Ja Morant, who's top 50 player in the league. They have Jaren Jackson Jr. They have Dylan Brooks. They have guys on their team. They bounced in the first round, 8 seed, barely got in the playoffs. Even the mighty Boston, who had their run when we were younger with the big three that they cultivated. Boston, believe it or not, I mean, they're a historic basketball franchise, but they're not like a A-list city for people to go live in these days when it comes to the NBA. And they have a star in Jason Tatum, a great role player, or a great second man in Jaylen Brown, and they're still struggling. Even I wrote Philly. Even Philly hasn't broke through. Mavericks, Doncic, I think they're going to get there, but right now they're still struggling.
They've also won a title with Dirk. So
right. So what I'm saying is that even if the Pistons get lucky, they hit on Cade Cunningham. And let's say Cade Cunningham is as good as Luka Doncic, which is asking a lot of a guy to be, because Luka Doncic is like the best 21, 22-year-old basketball player I've ever seen in my life. He's unbelievable. Are we going to be able to attract enough talent around him to elevate us to like a 1 seed and making a run in the playoffs and winning it all again? Because I don't know. I really don't.
Yes.
You say yes, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you say that?
Well, I'll give a couple examples. Number one, the Golden State Warriors, before their dominance, were they an attractive free agent destination for anyone? Do you remember any big players going there and signing with the Warriors?
Not that I can remember. They had that. They were the 8 seed ones with Baron Davis, and they upset.
So they had one playoff series win. I think they were a dumpster fire.
Right.
So they had top picks every year.
Right.
They draft Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green.
Yep.
All of a sudden, those 3 guys, before Kevin Durant, they won a title. Okay. They drafted those guys.
Yep.
Then what happens? So you start winning. You win a title. Or even if you don't win a title, you start winning. You're a really good team. You're a young, promising team. Winning attracts talent. Players want to play on winning teams.
I agree. That's what I'm saying with Giannis. They'll come. Right. Like Drew Holiday will come play.
So it can happen. Now, there's other ways to do it other than, so yes, you need stars. And free agency is a great way to get stars if you're a big market.
Can I do the Warriors real quick, though? Because I think it might end up being a team-by-team discussion here. I think one, Golden State I would say on its own could be a free agent spot because of the weather.
They were in Oakland. Right.
Yeah, but the weather on the West Coast, like, it's nice. It's not the worst city to live in. And I would say, like, if the bar that we're saying is we need to draft the best shooter in league history, I mean, that's not going to happen. Are we going to find a Steph Curry? Like, Steph's the best shooter of all time.
You're asking me if they'll ever be serious contenders again, and if they hit on the draft and they get a Cade Cunningham and he turns out to be a Luka Doncic type, yes, they could. Another example, so like I was saying, free agents, yes, that's like a great way to get superstars. But the Toronto Raptors are not exactly a destination, and they just made a trade instead. They just put all their eggs in one basket, got Kawhi Leonard in a trade. Maybe it was only for 1 year, but that was enough, and they won. The Warriors have some injury struggles, yes, but ultimately they won. So if the Pistons get enough and they're close and there's a big superstar out there who's unhappy, they can just go for it all and make a trade. It's not like now you're seeing players have more control in trades with their trade clauses and all that. But Kawhi Leonard's one of the top 5 players in the NBA, or was at the time, and he still got traded to a place he didn't want to go. when he got there, he said he wasn't even going to play. And they ended up winning the championship. So, yes, it's doable. Is it super realistic to think that we're ever going to be a free agent destination? No. But is it possible? Will we ever be contenders again? Yes. I think it's extreme to say no.
Okay. I hear that and I respect it. Evan, what do you think about the topics? We haven't let you go yet.
So Alex took the free agent destination approach, and I agree with him on like the Warriors certainly draft well. And I wrote down you have to draft well, you have to obtain depth. And I think a big reason why some teams don't win the playoffs is just because of the depth on their bench. The role players coming off the bench aren't as good as the other team's role players coming off their bench. Experience matters, and then you have to build around like your solid core, and having young talent helps. And I wrote down Toronto as well, like Alex did. You make one splash trade and you run it and you see what happens. But I wrote down a couple other teams that the Pistons could be comparable to. I wrote down like some past Boston teams in recent memory, like with a young Jason Tatum, with a young Jaylen Brown. They were talented. Nobody knew that. I mean, Jason Tatum's like a top 10 player right now. He could be arguably a top 5 player in the NBA right now. And could Saddiq Bey turn into a top 15, top 25 player? Possibly. So you have talent, a small portion of talent on your roster right now. The Miami Heat team last year, they made it to the finals. Granted, it was the bubble, no fans, asterisk, whatever you want to call it. But Bam Adebayo, he's an all-star, yes, but Isaiah Stewart could fill in like that role player center, undersized type. And then if we had, like you said, we had Keith Cunningham could turn in just as good as Jimmy Butler did. And you see that Miami team, they had just role players around them that made their team better. And then I guess you wrote down and asked, are there any NBA teams that we could compare? And I wrote down the current Utah Jazz team.
Okay.
They drafted, I want to say, majority of their players. They haven't really brought in any big free agents. They have a good team philosophy. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is like their superstar on their team, but I don't think like the national media will consider like Donovan Mitchell like a superstar compared to like these other like James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Giannis. Like he's not on that level. And so you look at the current NBA, yes, the East and West kind of battle off, they shift talent-wise, but I think there definitely is a chance the Pistons can get back into contention. And like I said, college football is. I think the NBA is just a cycle of these teams are good, it changes. Then the next group of teams are going to be good, then it changes. I mean, you look at the Pistons 04 run. Yes, it was a different type of basketball, but we didn't have a superstar on that team. We had a bunch of guys that played well, and we had a good system and coaches.
And they played a team with 2 superstars, and they still won.
Yeah.
Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah.
I agree with Evan, and it's a team. And coaching, I think, is another point that you can make.
It's a good point.
It can make a big difference.
I see a point to make me a little bit more optimistic. I think I'm going to be stuck in my ways on this thought until I see otherwise. It just seemed like really discouraging. Like, and the teams you're talking about, like the Jazz, like they have a lot to prove this year and they could bust through. I guess I'm just thinking, like, as, you know, I watch the playoffs, we all see a difference between like a team that's a good regular season team and kind of flashes in the playoffs than being like that real like alpha team. Like I can almost say with guarantee we will not ever have a Brooklyn situation like right now in Detroit. Like I don't see us attracting 3 of the top 20 players that ever come play for us. So we're never going to be like, and to be fair, we weren't in 04. We weren't supposed to win that series. So we're never going to be the team that's like, oh, they're going to coast to the finals. So I don't think we'll ever really see that. But I could see it. I'm almost thinking when everyone's talking there about that team I'm watching right now that I think has a great chance to go to the finals is the Phoenix Suns. Like, if you can have Killian Hayes just be half of the game manager or Chris Paul could be one day, like I don't think he'll ever be to the level of Chris Paul, like half as good as him. Cade could be a Devin Booker type when he comes of age and hits his stride of the shot making. You find like a energetic big man like Ayton's been with Isaiah Stewart. You patch together your big man. You have a good wing guy like Saddiq Bey, Mikal Bridges type, you know, your Jerami Grant, like their Dario Saric. You could build a team like that. You can compete. And I think on a year like this where, but it all has to be in context again where like Phoenix isn't where they're at unless you have a Anthony Davis go down. So like you might, and like you said with Toronto, like it might just be where the Pistons are going to need to build a great team, and then still on top of that have to have some injury luck, which you can never bank on. You can't root for because it's like you can't root for that. So it's one of those things where like I think and it just kind of reset my timeline because I know we got all excited about the draft and like, oh, if we get Cade Cunningham, we could be like the 8th seed in the East next year, which I still think we can. But I just think it kind of reset the timeline of me. Like we really have so much work to do to like get to a level of like I'm watching Brooklyn play like some of the best basketball I've ever seen in my life, and we're just so far off of that.
90% of championship teams are going to have to get a ball bounced their way or get lucky in any sport. So you know, more often than not, yeah, the Warriors didn't even win when they went 73 and whatever 9.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't win.
Right, because of a bad break on their end.
So what I'm saying is even the teams that are that good, that are supposed to win guaranteed, half the time they don't even win.
And that Warriors team that you talked about without KD, they got a break and Kevin Love getting hurt and like Kyrie being banged up for that.
And the Raptors got a break when Klay Thompson got
and KD then popped his Achilles.
Yeah.
So it might just be the expectations is like we're never going to be that front-running Brooklyn team that attracts all those guys. So we might just need to put together the best team we possibly can, which I trust Trey Weaver to do, and hope like teams kind of fumble in front of us, which sucks because like you'd like to just be the alpha team. But
OKC drafted Harden, Durant, Westbrook, Ibaka.
Mm-hmm.
Our GM is from that franchise.
I would consider they were serious contenders. They made the finals. If you make
they were
the finals,
3-1 on the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals a couple of years later.
If you make
your
conference finals and you compete in that series, you're a real contender. You know.
Yeah. So you just got to hit on the draft. They might leave eventually, so we might have a smaller window than other teams with big markets.
That is tough. Yeah. Hopefully
you can still get to a window.
Yeah.
Be more optimistic, Grant. Don't be
negative. No, I'm going to be real. I'm going to be real what I'm watching. It's a different level.
We're not there yet. No one's expecting us to be there right now.
I'm just resetting my timeline. I was getting over my skis. Thinking
if you thought they were competing next year to get to the Eastern Conference Finals,
not the finals, just playoffs.
Got to get lucky in the draft.
Playoffs.
Got to hit in the lottery that we won't inevitably hit on because Evan thinks it's rigged.
Well, different discussion for another day. So
all lotteries are rigged. We'll get to that when we talk about the Red Wings later.
Your rumor for you're not using Jerami Grant as your rumor?
Nope.
So speaking of the timeline, this will be brief. I just saw this come up from a decent source. There was some credibility there. A guy that's kind of plugged into the league was floating that Jerami Grant wants to go to the Washington Wizards. There's interest there to team up with Beal and Westbrook, which I think would be a great fit for the Wizards. I don't know if I'd love it for Detroit, but my question to you is to figure that out. Would you guys trade him if you were the GM, which we've talked about before? And if so, what would you need back in a trade of that magnitude?
I would probably do it if it was a lot of picks, first round at least. First, second, and then I would want some of their young players as well. I mean, I would want a haul. I wouldn't just trade them for peanuts.
Well, of course, you'd get fired if you traded them for peanuts.
First rounder, second rounder, and a couple of their prospects.
Wow. What kind of prospects?
I would have to look at the Wizards roster for that.
Okay.
I'll take Cassius Winston just because he's from.
All right. Evan, what are you thinking about this?
I wrote down, if he wants to leave, goodbye, see you later. Nice knowing you. Thanks for playing for the Pistons. I would want to get a haul in return, but I don't think you're going to get a bunch of draft picks and players for Jerami Grant.
MIP, man.
Well, candidate. Nominee. MIP nominee.
Give me a couple seconds, maybe a first.
How about just one
Give me
first?
draft picks. Give me draft picks and Cassius Winston, I'll be happy. My problem is I don't know if I want their draft picks. Nothing against Cassius Winston. I think he's a great player. I think he should have been drafted. But I would rather have Troy Weaver have a chance to draft his own players.
I agree with that
because he had a good success last year. So just give us draft picks and see what Troy Weaver does with it.
Yeah. Let me paint a scenario for you because I was thinking about how I would try to work this. And I even went on ESPN trade machine to try to figure out a trade. The salary cap might need some adjusting on this one, as with every trade. But I also go back and forth on Jerami Grant, where I he showed a lot this year. I think in the games that he did play, like he showed a lot of 3-level scoring ability I didn't know he had in his game. And he's 27, so he's going to be in that prime window, and he would be a good like end of game kind of guy for Cade to kind of learn under in his first years. Look at me just assuming we're going to get Cade Cunningham, but I think he'd be a good guy, a go-to guy for the young guys. Kind of like you could even think about how Jimmy Butler was for the Heat with all the young guys like Duncan, Tyler Hero, kind of learning underneath him. And the game goes through Jerami Grant and the other guys kind of feast around. So I like that, and I see that. But like Evan said, if this rumor is true, he wants to go to Washington. There's no point in trying to keep a guy in Detroit that doesn't want to be here because it's not going to work because we're not a free agent spot. They're not going to be motivated to play. I mean, we even see how motivated Blake Griffin is in Brooklyn now that he's out of Detroit. I mean, he looks like a different human being over there, which I don't fault him for really. Like whatever, like it's not anyone in Detroit's fault other than Stan Van Gundy that we were in that situation. So I mean, Blake did what he had to do. Yeah. But if we have one of those brewing in Jerami Grant, let's get something back. The guy that I want from Washington, I want Rui Hachimura on our team back in this trade. Very like 22-year-old starter, 22-year-old power forward, put up some 20-point games in this playoff. I think you could reasonably ask that. Like if you're because if they're doing this, they want to win now. So take Jerami Grant and try to win now. They have the 15th pick in this year's draft, so they're not in the lottery, so they're that 15th spot. If you could get like Reed in that pick, and we give up Jerami and something else, maybe a later future pick, I would do that with the hope that Troy, we would take our pick and we could hopefully use the Wizards' 15th pick and maybe a future pick and move up. Because if you came back, like think about this, Jerami Grant leaves, you get Rui Hachimura to play the 4, you get Cade, Jalen, or Evan Mobley. And then you can go get like Davion Mitchell with like the 6th pick or something, 7th pick.
Now we are talking.
That's a pretty awesome young core. Like you lose out, you're not going to be great this coming year because Jeremy's scoring was like 22 points a game. He was awesome. But you have a pretty unbelievable young core because you're bringing in 3 star young or growing young players that are in the 21 to 22-year-old range. I would do that in a second.
And then 2 years from then, you make a slam dunk trade for an all-star and you just go for it all.
Yeah, I like that.
The
like
Detroit Pistons are NBA Finals champions, and this segment will have to be brought up because Grant said that it's basically never going to happen.
Yeah, but as I gave us the blueprint to reach that.
I trust whatever Troy Weaver wants to do, but I agree with your trade. I would do that. As long as Troy Weaver thinks Hachimura is going to be a good player.
Right. You would want,
I would want a seal of approval.
It's basically one player for 3, and we give up some future picks that we'd have to. I'm guessing how it works.
Frank Jackson.
Because like we said, Jerami Grant's like good, but he's not like Hall good, I would say. I don't know. Unless the team is desperate.
Celtics were willing to give it a Hall, it sounded like.
But the Wizards might be desperate.
Their window closing.
Who? Wizards?
Wizards. It's not even a big window to begin with.
Give me Bradley Beal. Let's overpay him.
Nope. We don't need that.
Come on, guys. It'd be fun.
He's pretty old.
No.
Is he?
He's Blake Griffin 2.0.
What's
we
old?
don't need. He's not like out of his prime yet. He's probably like 28.
Dude, Killian, Bradley Beal, Cade Cunningham.
We don't have Cade Cunningham yet, Grant.
But we do.
Let's wait. You're saying that too much.
We're speaking into existence.
Speaking into existence is right. I have Cade Cunningham. I might as well just buy his jersey right now, and that way NBA has to give him to us.
Troy's thinking the same way. I know he is. Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll at least be among the stars. Okay, so now something new. Not new, but a new twist on the end of it. It's time, because that was a rumor. Now it's time for another rumor, and Alex's Rumor Mill segment of the week, presented by Codes Apparel. So, first sponsor, a little read here on the show. What is Codes Apparel? For those that don't know, it's a clothing company. Quick trivia to go along with this. What is Grand Rapids, Michigan area code? Evan.
I have no idea. Is it 6 something or is it 9 something? 987?
Starts with a 6.
Oh, 670.
No. Alex, do you know?
616?
Yes, it is the 616. That's Grand Rapids. So that kind of philosophy is what Codes Apparel is about. We started recently, and what it is if you're well, we don't have a full version, but just picture a shirt. It's got the State of Michigan logo on it, and a variety of colorways for whatever sports team you may like, even some summer ones, some golf ones, and it's a way to represent where you're from. So it's the state, and you put the area code you're from, numbers inside of it. They range from 616 Grand Rapids, 517, 231, 734, all the great area codes and places around Michigan. And it's a great way, like I said, to let others know, represent something, represent your hometown, where you're from, in a variety of colorways. They offer t-shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, hats, all variety type of clothing. Where to find this? codesapparel.com. And you get free shipping on orders $75 or more. So go check out that, see if you find anything you like. And without further ado, brought to you, Alex's Rumor Mill segment of the week, presented by Codes Apparel. Here it is.
Your rumor of the week is the lead candidates for the newly opened Portland Trailblazers.
Get out of here. Keep it to yourself.
It's a little
Keep
close
it to
to home
yourself.
here. Chauncey Billups, former Detroit
This is what Evan told you to do.
Well, kind of. Jeff Van Gundy, Nats assistant Mike D'Antoni, and last but not least, might upset some people, Michigan's Juwan Howard. So Michigan fans, watch out. The Blazers are looking to make a run at your head coach, Juwan Howard. Any thoughts, Grant? Confirmed by Woj himself.
One, rumors like this are a good thing that your program at Michigan's moving in the right direction because you have a coach that's heavily sought after by other people, which means he's well respected. Two, just Michigan fans get used to it. Buckle up, and every single head coaching vacancy across the country, the NBA, high-level college jobs, Juwan Howard's going to be linked to, so you just got to deal with it. And enjoy them while you have them, because when you get this many offers thrown in your face, it's naturally tempting to want to leave at some point, which I do anticipate him going to the NBA at some point in his life. I don't know when that will be. I would like to think that he'd want to stay at Michigan for his up-and-coming son, who's a recruit, high-level recruit, high four-star recruit, who will probably be attending Michigan. You'd like to see him ride that out.
Did you just add another rumor? Is he committed?
No, but it's like crystal ball. Like, he's going to go to Michigan.
Rumor.
Jet Howard, look him up. Great player. But yeah, so he's going to be attached. You just got to get used to it. You just got to, Hunter Dickinson's flirting with the NBA. Devontae Jones, our transfer commit, is also now flirting with the NBA. You just got to ride the wave in the offseason of college basketball and basically go to sleep and wake up in late August to see what your roster really is. So we'll see. Thanks for the rumor, Alex. So last segment of this show, to stay in the Detroit range, we have a mix of the Tigers and Red Wings, a twofer. It's great value. So we have Detroit Tigers promising prospects, little alliteration there, and the Red Wings lottery follow-up with the 6th pick. So we'll start with the Tigers. I was searching the web. I literally just typed in Detroit Tigers news, found some articles about some prospects on the rise and some current guys on the team that are having some good stretches. Do you guys, after kind of reviewing the last couple of weeks of Tigers baseball, have any guys because we talked about them last week about encouraging. You got any guys on this team that you think are here to stay, and who would they be?
That are on the current Tigers roster?
Sure.
Or in the minor leagues?
You can punt on the current roster and just go who's tickling your pickle in the minor leagues.
Well, I saw that Paredes is coming up, our number 4 prospect.
Oh, I'm intrigued by that guy. I wanted him to see him play.
Isaac. This isn't how you pronounce his name. Isak.
Are you serious?
Not Isaac. It's Isak.
Thank goodness you guys said that.
Which is super weird.
Wait, but you guys both said different things, so can we run that
I think
back?
Evans is right. Isaac sounds a little wrong.
But
Isak.
Evans and not the pronunciation guy.
No, correct.
No, trust me, because I was watching the Tigers game last year or saw highlights, and what's his name? Shepard said his name. I was like, no, it's Isaac. It's spelled Isaac. And then as the year went on, they kept on pronouncing it Isak Paredes.
Isak Paredes. So that's something to keep
What
an eye
position
on.
does he play?
I think 3rd.
Third base.
Nice.
Third base.
He played a little bit last year at the end of the year.
Yeah,
Nice.
he was actually not bad. And then, like I said last week, Riley Green. I would like to see him, get some.
Dude, I always get him confused when you say with the country singer. Isn't there a country singer named Riley Green?
Sounds right.
Crickets in the pond.
I mean, actually, yeah, I would say there's definitely a country singer named Riley something. Riley Green, American country music singer.
There was
songwriter.
this girl. Isn't that a popular song?
It
There
is.
was this girl.
Very popular.
there was this girl in this bar with my truck and this beer.
Nope, that's not how it goes. But if you played it, you would definitely know.
All right, so yes, I get it confused. They're not the same guy.
Nope, not the same guy. But
That would
Riley
be quite
Green,
the life.
I would love to see him get some at bats, but like Evan said, with all the dumb whatever rules.
Don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get
that
it
Evan
at
brings up every time. But one day we'll do it, like in late August when we have nothing to talk about. We'll do a deep dive on how
We're gonna have to fact check Evan. He could be lying to us.
You really could be.
I'm not.
Evan, is there anyone you got your eye on? Besides Casey
yes.
Mize, we get it. He's better now.
I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. I
Oh,
don't have the
geez,
article. I
Evan.
looked at it earlier.
My.
But,
Isak.
Dingler.
Dean Dingley?
Evan, his name's Dylan Dingler. Come on.
Dingler. There you go.
Dean Dingy Balls? I mean, what was that?
He's a catching prospect. I'm pretty sure from Ohio State.
Ooh.
He's hitting very well down in the minors recently with a couple of power surge home runs.
$2.99.
But currently, our catcher right now, Eric Haas. You have a little article about him. I mean, he hit a home run today to get the Tigers only 3-1. So I'm pretty sure he now has 8 home runs.
Another
in less
today?
than- Yes, I think he has 8 home runs in less than like 100 at bats, which is unheard of
That's unbelievable.
You're really good.
for a guy that kind of Cleveland didn't really want, and we traded for him for cash considerations. He's from Dearborn Divine Child, drafted out of high school.
Who we beat in the regional semifinals. Shout out us.
I knew that was coming.
Never forget, he was not on the team, otherwise we wouldn't have probably won.
Shout out Nick Collins for that home run. Yeah. Chop us for losing the next game.
But
But
Big
like the
one,
article
Kyle
stated,
Chop.
like this Tigers team have been trying to find like a catcher that is here to stay, and we've gone through the mill with Hicks and Griner, and now we signed Ramos.
Who's the guy we got from the Astros?
and we sent James McCann off for no reason.
James McCann left. He was a young, good prospect. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, he doesn't hit very well. Goes to the Mets, absolutely
Rakes.
rakes.
Who was the
Goes
catcher
to
we got
White
from
Sox,
the
excuse
JV
me,
trade?
went to the White Sox first, absolutely rakes. What?
Who's the catcher we got in the JV trade from the Astros? Supposed to be good. Jake Rogers.
Jake Rogers.
And he's back and forth. He's kind of like our backup right now. He's got a cannon. He's more of a defensive catcher, but this Haas rakes. He's a power hitting catcher, and right now with these major leagues, I want a catcher that can contribute offensively.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, he lacks defense. It's like, trust me, you can figure out defense. That's easier to fix than hitting.
As a
And
great
then
hitter
obviously,
yourself.
our pitching prospects, they're pitching better in the majors. Schoolball's pitching better. It's having higher strikeout rate recently, which, I mean, that's what we're looking forward to as the pitching prospects.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it would be a nice offset where Mize has kind of been pitching. He's not a huge strikeout guy. He's gets weak contact, so it'd be nice to have an offset of Schoolball who just like fans people. I like that kind of rotation for them. And you always forget how like young these guys are, so they're still figuring it out. I will say I'm willing to go back in on the Badu train a little bit. I can see him on a contending Tigers team in the outfield where like he's figuring stuff out. Like he's grinding. He's so young as well. I believe, right?
He's young.
I shouldn't just say that.
21?
That felt so irresponsible to say he's super
21?
young. I didn't type in age, Grant. Learn how to Google one time.
He is young because he wasn't even
22.
able to drink when he celebrated.
Yeah,
22.
So he must have just turned 22. So,
Yes.
well, that still wouldn't make
Yeah,
sense.
that
He'd be
does
able
make
to-
sense.
yeah, whatever.
He should have been able to drink this year.
Anyways, he had that huge stretch, so we know he has that flash, and then struggles, and he's like grinding to get back to where he was a little bit. Willie Castro's in this article. He's been hitting good of late. Teaser alert, I'm punting on him. I'll tell you that at the end here. Eric Haas, like you mentioned, I like it. It says here is 28, so he may not fit into future plans. It might be when Dylan Dingler comes up to the show. I love that name, and I'm really excited about this guy. I saw a couple highlights of Spencer Torkelson hitting bombs. I love his swing. I hadn't looked at his swing until like now, like seeing these MLB highlights. It's so short, compact, and he has like thighs that could squeeze a watermelon. Back to the thighs, you gotta look out for those things. Unless he's just sizing down in pants. I don't know, but the dude is like absolutely a unit and ripping baseballs into the sun.
Big thigh guy.
Looks like a huge thigh guy. And then we have Riley Green, like we talked about. Looks like he's a great defenseman based on the clips I see. But like Alex always says, these guys are an A ball. They're in double A ball. I mean, we might not see these guys till 2027.
We might never.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see Riley Green's first plate appearance in 2027 for the Tigers, based on all the little rules that Evan discusses.
That we don't know if we're true or not because we've never fact checked them.
For me, it all comes down to this, and I talked about it last show, but I'm more in depth. I did a little bit more research. I want a shortstop on this team. I want a guy. This is why I'm kind of chopping Willie Castro. Like, yeah, it'd be cool if he went back to last year's form and was hitting well. I want a guy that's a sweet fielder, sweet hitter, proven. I'm okay if he's a little older. Okay if we overpay. I'm doing some research on who's even available in the free agent market. We got to start spending money at some point because we're saving a lot of it because we don't have a high payroll. We have Corey Seager available this year. We have Trevor Story available this year. And we have the guy that I want and I need, or I'm going to be very disappointed. I'll say this. I will not watch half of the Tigers season next year if we don't sign this guy, which won't be much different because I don't watch all their games anyways. If we don't sign Carlos Correa this offseason, I'm going to be mad.
Former manager.
Yeah,
There's a connection.
There's a connection there. Maybe we can start the banging on the garbage cans in Detroit. He knows how to do it. I'm just kidding. It's a joke, guys. Relax. We don't need to cheat to win. We need a shortstop. Like, Carlos Correa, every time I used to watch those Astros playoff games, the great series, Carlos Correa was making big plays, making big hits. Some would say he's a better playoff performer than he even is a regular season guy. Perfect. Let's get Carlos Correa on our team. And then I can start to envision us in a world where we're competing. Because our poor pitching staff is working so hard, holding teams to so few runs, and we have no offensive support for them to show. Except when we film these shows and Evan tells us we have a breaking Miguel home run that's going on. Like, we don't score runs outside of recording these podcasts. That's where I stand. Free agent show can be a different day, but I need to get that off my chest.
We're not even close to free agency.
No, we're like not even.
We're actually not
done.
even remote close.
No, but we need.
We're not
Carlos
even to
Correa.
the All-Star break, and you were talking about making guarantees about signing someone.
Yeah,
it is June.
There's nothing to talk about with
June
the
8th.
Tigers because they're not competing.
Well, you want to talk about them.
We have to. We owe it.
So now we got to talk about the Red Wings.
The Red Wings. Update. The lottery was not rigged. Nothing crazy happened. Evan almost came true on the Kraken call, but it was one pick short. As our lead hockey analyst on the show, we will throw this one to Evan. Now, stop yawning, dude. Is the show that boring for you?
I woke up extra early today.
Oh, not a big deal.
Longer commute.
Lottery takeaways, Red Wings, where do we sit?
It's tough. We got the 6th pick. Eisman came out and said, I'll draft somebody talented at any spot and give it to me. When the lottery was going on, like a live lottery show, they panned to Stevie during like when we picked the 6th pick, and he just had the meanest, like, I hate you NHL grin on his face of all time. And this stems from, so last year we had the best odds to get the number 1 pick. We fell to 4. So I guess every summer the GMs get together and like complain about rules throughout the NHL. And then they send it to this board, and the board like approves it or declines it, and then the rule will get passed. So I guess this year for the NHL draft lottery, the odds, like for like the NBA odds, you know how that, the odds and like the chance to like move in the lottery changed because of how much it got screwed up last year.
Oh.
And so if I knew that going in, like you could have just straight up said, yeah, it's going to be chalk.
That explains
And
a ton.
it was. Only one team moved.
'Cause
And Seattle moved from 3 to 2.
I have an important question.
Yeah.
It's a little off the NHL topic, but the NFL doesn't do a draft lottery. Why do other leagues? Why did the draft lottery start, and why? I guess what's better?
That's okay.
Like why? I
Write
know
it
it's a
down.
super long topic. We should talk about it another time. But I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that different professional leagues are doing different draft
Deep
styles.
dive draft lottery in August slow week. Boom.
Yeah, you
Written
should
down.
just save that. But I
Evan,
mean,
you
it's
took a
pretty
big
mind-blowing.
Evan, you took a big breath. What were you about to say?
It's because all teams think they avoid tanking.
Yeah, it's just
So
like
people
to
won't
discourage tanking.
Well, the NFL's
tank
not stopping.
because they don't have a chance to get first. But here's also a way to prevent tanking. Give the worst teams like the first pick so they're talented.
You see, that's my point. You just
That way you
perform.
have a cycle. Like I said, there's a cycle of teams being good, teams being bad, teams being good. But where there's a lottery and that team's not getting the first pick, now that team's stuck and sucking for a while, like the 76ers were and Cleveland was in the NBA.
Yeah.
And then Cleveland drafted Anthony Bennett and got worse.
Yep.
Chap. Yeah, I mean, we were watching the lottery here, Alex and I almost thought, like, I was like, are they just, like, one by one remind us what the order is, like, going in by lottery odds?
Grant did think it was fake.
Lottery odds. Holy crap, Grant. Get it together. Lottery odds. Like, I was like, is this just a recap of where we stand going into the lottery? And I goes, no. Alex is like, no, this is, like, the real lottery. I'm like, it's just the same order. Like, they're just spitting out the same order, the odds until, like, the last two ones flip-flop. So I guess it could be worse. We didn't move up. It was just a vanilla. Yep. Thank you, Evan, for the backstory of like what they talked about in the offseason. I guess my takeaway I had from this, I hadn't heard Stevie Y talk that much, GM Eisenman, but seems pretty funny, really funny guy. I was letting it rip in the post-game media session. Like, I don't think he meant it in a demeaning way. He was just kind of playing along with the guy, like with the reporter who's like, well, who are you thinking about taking? And he's like, well, tell me who you would take. And then like the reporter like was like, okay, like, I'll tell you who's going first, Owen Power. And he just like got into it. Kind of funny that like Stevie Y's, but in a weird way, I think he's illuminating the fact that this year might be more of a crapshoot than other years because there's not like that locked and loaded number one guy like a Connor McDavid type. So I think he was in a way he was answering the question like I don't know who's going first. We'll just see who's there when they fall to us. So that was kind of funny. I enjoyed his. Similar to Dan Campbell, I enjoyed his having fun with it.
My only note on the whole lottery, watching it, when they showed everyone's, like all the GM's reactions, and 99% other than the guy that got the first pick, they just all looked angry. They looked furious. Like every single one, they just show them, the guys would just be like, that was it.
The Dallas Stars dude took out his headphones and just got up from his chair. He was like, all right, I'm done.
See ya. Done with this. This sucks.
They like all knew exactly how
it was almost awkward to watch them put it on each GM when they're just all going to react the same. Like, cool, I got the 13th pick.
Yeah. So I guess we'll have to look out for kind of the NHL draft coming up, and we'll do more like we did for the Lions. We won't do like probably a full mocker for NHL. I don't think I could get through it, but we'll talk about some prospects we'd like them to take maybe and see how it goes. But I guess I said too, with 12 picks, like Evan likes to remind us, this might be like the biggest draft for our next upcoming decade in Red Wings history for sure. You have this many picks, and a lot of those are in the second, third rounds. Like, gotta land on some guys. We already have some promising prospects, but this is where you kind of like really figure out like who your team's going to be in this specific draft, which feels like a lot of pressure. But I'm glad Yzerman is not feeling the bulk of the pressure. He's just having fun with it. So I feel like we're in good hands.
Looking forward to it.
I'm glad.
And we are. We with 12 picks, and then a lot of the scouting departments saying how it's going to be tough evaluating talent, and you're kind of throwing a dart at a bullseye, hoping you hit on the prospect. And with 12 picks, you have a better chance with that.
Just got to hit on
if
one.
you like somebody differently. And then I think, like Ray said, this might be the biggest draft for Yzerman's young GM career for the Red Wings, to where this is finally like his chance to completely rebuild the farm system and hopefully get a couple more talented players, and then hopefully in a couple of years, sign a big free agent to fill out the roster. Eichel will be on the team in 2022. You just go out and sign Johnny Hockey, and now the Red Wings are back in the playoffs.
That is Johnny Gaudreau, right?
Yeah, Johnny Gaudreau plays
Look
for
at
the
me.
Flames.
Come on. Let's go. All right. And with that, let's close out this puppy. So, as always, time to plug our social accounts at Shot Up MS on everything except for TikTok. That is at Shot Up Michigan Sports. How to listen to this show: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Depending on whatever platform you're listening on, please subscribe to the show. Download it, like, subscribe,
Rate
it 5 stars, leave a review. At some point, we'll do like some sort of giveaway to get some more ratings for you guys, but we'd really appreciate it if you did now. It's all free. Subscribing to this on any platform is free. There's no monetary value that we get from providing this fun, free content to the people. So we'd really appreciate it if you did us a solid and reviewed it back or subscribed so you get all the latest. Interact with us on social media. Comment, like DMs, any ideas you have for the show, and any business ideas, advertisements. That's shotofmichigansports@gmail.com is the best place for that. DMs also work on social media. We'll see it. And submit any questions that you want answered, any topics you want us to discuss. So with all that, I will cheers us out. Episode 24. And this one I want to cheers to...
Your arm's in my screen, man.
This one I want to cheers to a two-folder. No, just one. Mike Anderson, for your YouTube comment today about subscribing because we don't like LeBron James, at least two of us. Cheers to that.
Cheers to the thoughtful comment he wrote, but I don't have anything to drink.
You never do. When will you learn?
Well, I'm trying to do a show here. I'm not worried about drinking.
Cheers, Evan.
Cheers to, I don't remember the guy's name. Cheers to the dude on TikTok who called us losers. Thanks for your feedback, buddy.
Our haters are our motivators.
Nice cup, Evan. Game of Thrones shout out.